Hey, what's going on, guys? It's Shadow bringing you guys another Blackbeard gameplay. This is at Sully's Abode Locals. Obviously, we were playing for points, so I'm trying to play the deck that I'm most comfortable with. One dice roll chose to go second to throw the BY off curve. They open up with the Three Brothers Bond. Looking for Three Brothers, either the big ones or the little ones. I believe he's gonna grab a Luffy, if I'm not mistaken. Oh no, he grabs Sabo. In this matchup, as a Blackbeard player, I really don't pitch for leader ability until they're about to hit their 8 Dawn turn, essentially giving them, a Sabo off. But you see here, I'm going to open up with Stage and Luffy, and I use Stage, pitching one of the 10 drop teaches. Don't need it this early, and there's 3 more in the deck, but with Stage and Luffy, I'll be able to cycle through essentially 9 cards next turn, so I'm not too worried about not finding them. And you do see I grab Burgess. Burgess is what is needed to win this matchup for sure. Because once you fill up the trash, you can get Burgess up to like 12k, 11k, 13k, and just start pressuring the Luffy without any Dawn. And you see here the BY ends up picking to do Hiyori and grabs the bottom life and puts the Sabo at the top. I know he told me he put the Sabo at the top. And he swings 6 at me. I take it. The reason why he does this is so that he can swing at the Lafitte this next turn, although he is going to need to add 1 Dawn to it. So it makes it a little bit trippy. I'm at 4 Dawn. I could have searched with Burgess, but I'm going to opt to do the Lafitte to get some more hand size, give myself different options. And you see I grab a second Burgess. So I'm trying to find them to set up my late game using Tempest Kick to draw a card. Not really too worried about removal too much unless it is the Fist Luffy, because that's what he's going to use to get down. And I believe I have a Finger Pistol in my hand, that's why I'm not too worried. And you do see I use Stronger to pitch for the Stage, and I'm going to grab My Era Begins and use My Era Begins right away, because now that I know I have Burgess in my hand, I'm trying to filter this trash and get as much in there as possible by the time I drop Burgess. So, don't have any more searches. I'm going to swing 6 at the BY. I know people say to starve it. I at least get a swing in or 2 depending on what's going on, as long as they don't do Flampe. If they open up Flampe and then the next turn they do another Flampe, I'm not swinging. It would have just been a pass. Very easy pass. Because I don't want them to awaken right away. But they did not open with the Flampe, so that's why I figured this is an okay to swing right now. Just kind of put a little pressure, nothing too much. And here you see my opponent thinking he was considering on doing the Fist Luffy, and if he did do Fist Luffy, I would have had an answer for it. But he opts to swing with Hiyori to the Lafitte, and I'm going to give him a 1k counter. Typically, I wouldn't counter to save Lafitte, but I figured, why not fill the trash with 1 more card, and then he's going to swing at the Lafitte anyway, giving me 8 cards in trash, so when Burgess goes there, it'll be a 7k body. So, end up swinging with the Lafitte, and I pitch a Vasco shot for Stage, and I grab a Van Augur. And you see, I am contemplating whether to grab the Van Augur, but I end up grabbing a 10 drop. And I decided to grab the 10 drop right now since I am 2 turns away from it, but better to have it now than later. So now I'm establishing Burgess, as you see. Not too worried about this Kuzan, because once he turns the Kuzan sideways, I will swing at it with Burgess the next turn. And 2 Dawn left. Depending on what I have in hand, I can obviously use another My Era Begins or a Lafitte search. If I had a Lafitte, it is perfect, but I don't think I do, so I establish a dot Q and I pass. And I establish dot Q because I do have a Laboon in my hand as well, if I'm not mistaken. So if he does play out like a Fist Luffy, I can Laboon, dot Q it, and I do have a Finger Pistol to get rid of anything else. But again, I'm not too worried about this Kuzan swinging and giving a reduction, because Burgess can't be KO'd by effects, only trash. So my opponent plays out Ivankov, trashing the top life, and I think playing a 5 cost into life. I'm not sure. I've never really used this Ivankov personally. But I do know it is utilized in BY, and I have seen it put in work, as you see here. So, does this Sabo. Sabo does his on plays, drawing 2, and he's going to trash 2. Again, I still have not opted to use my leader ability. I always wait for 8 to 9 Don, so this is essentially going to be the last on plays that he's going to have. So, I do this just so I can maintain a decent hand size. So yes, he is getting his, invulnerability on his board, which is okay, but I can work around it. And here he plays out a Garp, searches top 5. Playing out the Garp would have been better first, but I'm not sure if he found the Garp off of his Sabo search. And if he did, that's why it's kind of whatever. And in here, he swings at life, and I consider on using the finger pistol, and the only target I have is Garp. If he would have swung first, I could have finger pistoled the Kuzan, would have been the icing on top, but end up using the finger pistol just because I know the next couple turns I will not be using it, so I'd rather just get rid of it now and just get rid of a body that I am able to knock out. I could have Doc Q'd it, which would have been good, but again, I want that trash to gain momentum. So that's 3 cards added, and then now pitch for stage, it's 4 cards. So this Burgess is currently at an 8, and now I established 2 more Burgesses. And I pitch for leader ability, pitching the finger pistol, and I don't need it anymore because next turn is going to be 10 drop, and I'm more than likely going to try 10 drop chaining if possible. So now he's at 9 Don, no on plays. Gecko Moria is useless. It is at least still a vanilla body at that point, but even if you were to play Moria, him being at 2 life, kind of starving him out, is making a big difference. And I do flip my leader ability over just to signify the nullification of your on plays. But yeah, 3 Burgess on the field is absolutely diabolical, especially to BY. And in here, I counter out because I knew I was going to take at least 2 of these hits. So, swing 7 twice at me. And then there you see I do have Black Hole, which, honestly, if he was down to 0 life, I would have used that on his leader because it would have nullified his leader ability, not allowing him to do his thing. So here you do see I swing at the Ivankov, I do 10 drop, and I only choose the Rocket Luffy, Egghead Luffy, just because if you do choose the BY leader when the lives are face up, they would go to his hand instead of bottom of the deck. So I got in the habit of not choosing leader in this matchup. And you do see I pitch Black Hole to grab a 2K, and at this point, that's all I'm looking for is any type of counter. I don't need the Black Holes or finger pistols at this point because now we're just going to try to drop 10 drops. So I do swing 8 at the Burgess, or 8 at the Sabo with Burgess. Oh no, it looks like 9. And then I swing 9 with the other Burgess to life, and then I pass turn, leaving him down to 1 life. Honestly, I should have just left him at 2 life. Would have been the best thing, because here you're going to see he's going to play out a Fist Luffy and pretty much get himself to activate his ability, which I did not consider happening. I should have, honestly, but not seeing the Fist Luffy early made me wonder if he even had it in his hand, especially now that we kind of stopped him from being able to cycle through the deck with his Sabos. But you're going to see him play out a Garp and attempt to do on plays, and I remind him that he is unable to do on plays, so he does take it back. Again, like I always say, if this is a big event, more than likely you would not let the person take that back. They played it out, This is locals, I'll play with these guys all the time. I don't mind. This is how we learn, this is how we get our practice in. So, oh, he blind shoots it. That's exactly what he does. So he plays out a Luffy, ends up hitting the fist Luffy from life, which is absolutely nuts. I know this is what a lot of BY players have started doing because of all the on-play negations. So he ends up hitting that off life and bumping his leader to 7. Now he uses his leader ability. So that's what it was. He did not have a fist Luffy that entire game and ends up finding it. Oh, it looks like he did because this is one in life. But he had no way to get it down. So again, it's just absolutely crazy. I've only done this once, and it was against Sush. But I did a Sabo blind hit, which is even crazier because you only have 4 Sabos to hit in the deck. Unlike Luffy, there are 8 Luffys to pick from. So he ends up playing out the little baby Sabo, and you see using the ability to bring out the big Sabo from life. No on play, so everything could still be KO'd if I wanted to. And cannot, cycle out his hand like a BY would typically want to. But he's got 4 Dawn left, and he's gonna want, and you see the Shirahoshi in hand is what he's considering on playing, or swinging big with his leader. But at this point, you kind of have to try to get rid of Burgess, which is possible because he's currently a 9k, and then with the 2 Dawn on his leader, he could swing for 11k at the Burgess. And Burgess is right now a 9k. But I still have the 10 drop Teach, which is a 12k, which can easily block his leader swing for 11. But you see, he is taking here a little bit because he's trying to figure out exactly what to do here. It's a pretty rough spot, whether it's a swing with Kuzan and pretty much poke me for 5, which is honestly the move that he should do here. But he ends up swinging with the Luffy. I do block with the 10 drop, but I'm not sure why he doesn't swing Kuzan into my life, which he does now. But in the earlier turns, I definitely would have swung Kuzan to start the dwindling of my hand, because now I'm only down to 2 cards right now. He does play the Shirahoshi and passes. I believe I do have a 10 drop. So unfortunate that I established this Doc Q for potential removal, but I ended up not using it because that would have just been an extra card in my hand. But I do use Stage, cycling out Van Augur, find another Stage, and I'm just going to pitch Stage right away to use my leader ability, because at this point it's not even worth holding on to, and I play out a 10 drop here. So Burgess should now be an 11 or 10k. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yep, so it's a 10k. All 3 Burgesses are 10k. His leader is just a 9k, so all of the Burgesses are going to swing for free right now. And you see, I choose to nullify the blocker Sabo, and I honestly should not have done that. But I swing with the Burgess, he gives me a 2k. Swing with the other Burgess, gives me the blocker, and I swing with my last Burgess, and I believe he's gonna give me the last 2 cards in his hand. And this is where I say I should have chose the Fist Luffy, because if I would have chose Fist Luffy, it would have prevented him from being able to utilize this Luffy and be stuck, and only allow him to swing out with essentially Sabo, Egghead Luffy, and his leader. But he does do the Luffy ability, trashing the other card and drawing another one. This is where I said Teach is not an on play, so it's an activate main. I could have swung out, see exactly what he would have done, because what could have happened was he could have gave me this Sabo as a block with the Shirahoshi, kept his hand for counter, and then I could have used Teach's ability to choose the Fist Luffy, which now only gives him 2 swings instead of the potential 3 that he has right now. So it's probably a good idea to try to assess the situation with Teach. 10 drop, unless you're facing a mirror match with Blackbeard, because if you go trying to go lethal, there is the chance that Black Hole is in life, and then it could nullify your 10 drop if you haven't decided. So that's the only occurrence that I can think of it happening. But yeah, at this point, it's pretty much GG's. 3 swings, he needs to connect. I have 2 blockers and 1 life, and he would essentially need a rush ace, but it is unable to be used since I did use my leader ability. Even if he's blockered up, again, 3 Burgesses, 2 10 drops, and then my leader. At this point, I would just attach Don to my leader and go for lethal. But I know he doesn't have any blockers here. So 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. He's swinging 12. I think it was at Burgess. I'm just going to block and give him a 2K. And this pretty much solidifies game at this point. 2 swings left. I still have a blocker. Not much Don. You're going to see he's just going to play out some bodies, but he pretty much concedes. Again, 3 Burgess is diabolical in this matchup, and absolutely lucky that I was able to establish all 3 compared to 2, which is what I was aiming for. But yeah, if you guys like the content, make sure you subscribe to the channel, like the video, comment down below what you guys thought of the match, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.